Hello, 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 you lovely people. It seems to be catching on after a few others using the same intro. I think Stephen's caught on to a good little punchline. Tonight it's 8:20 in the evening here in the Philippines, and we're simulcasting across both channels. The reason for it is a rejuvenation, a feeling of yes, a few of you are starting to catch on. Starting to catch on that it's important that we not only talk a load of gobbledygook on these channels, but also we realise that it's important that we spread the word, that others will get to hear our message and hopefully will make some good, worthwhile comments. This evening I watched both Ian living in the Philippines and also Stephen from, not quite sure what his channel's called, something about Philippines through the eyes of. And Stephen touched onto a subject that I've actually approached before, but in a slightly different manner, and that is that sometimes we will face situations in our lives that maybe we never thought we would have to do, and that is the ultimate situation where health, old age becomes the main issue that we have all got to face at one point in life. And we may well, whether we're American or English or Australian or anywhere in the world, come to that. We may well all have to face the reality that we might have to leave the country. Might be a decision we make to go and seek that extra few months or maybe years of our lives by obtaining treatment. A friend of mine from Wales actually came here. He actually had a couple of relationships. Unfortunately, neither one actually worked out for him, but the emphasis was that he needed to go back. For him, it was a case of a fear or a scare of prostate cancer. And to face such a thing in one's life as a man, or as any person would be, whether it's breast cancer, but in his case, prostate cancer scare, he went back to the UK, and luckily for him, he was able to get that out of his mind. In other words, he sort of, I believe it's knocked on the head. In other words, he obviously has to keep an eye on it, but it's still not center stage in his mind. And he's now able to reconsider coming back to the Philippines, which is what he wants to do, to retire. But in his particular case, of course, he has other issues that he needs to address before he makes that final move back to Southeast Asia. It may end up going to Thailand as an example of maybe a better opportunity for him. But what Stephen was talking about is the reality that if we do make that decision to go back for medical reasons to get that cancer or disease that we need to have knocked on the head and dealt with by professionals, in the sense the Western style equipment and treatment strategies that would probably not be found easily here in the Philippines. I'm reminded also of the fact that when I left New Zealand last, my son, who's now 46, said to me, and you could have hit me with it, and that, it was like a dagger to my heart. He said to me, "Dad, this might be the last time I see you." And I thought, I've never really seen it that way because I've always been one that enjoys traveling, never fear travel. And for me, I hadn't really conceded the idea that it would be my last trip to New Zealand. And therefore, it was like a bolt out of the blue when he said that to me. But like Stephen was talking about, if he was to go back, hypothetically speaking, because of an illness or something that clearly would be life-changing for him, then he would be seeing his Filipina waving him goodbye, maybe knowing or not knowing whether she would see him again. Would he be able to return? Would he be able to, after having treatment, be given the green light to come back? And I think that many of us who come here to the Philippines to retire do actually burn our bridges, because part of coming to the Philippines is making the decision that the Philippines is going to be the place that we end our lives here. If you're just coming with the idea that you're going to spend a few years and then maybe go back, that doesn't really put you into a retirement mode. It puts you into a long holiday, puts you into a non-committed stay here in the Philippines, or Thailand, come to that. But if you're in here for the long haul, you will have done things, one would hope, to ensure that your family that you have here, your newfound family, are not left with any burdens beyond the grief of losing you as their partner. I, for instance, have a St. Peter's funeral plan, which is all paid up, waiting for it to be used. It's transferable, of course. You're maybe not aware of it, but you can transfer those plans to another person. Of course, you'd have to take another one out to ensure that you have one for your insurance, to ensure that your family don't have to bear the burden of your funeral. But it is something that many of us must consider. Could you leave the Philippines and possibly leave all of what you gained, all of what you hoped and wished for, to never see your family again, your new family, that is? And also, can you adjust to life in the Philippines? That's really the biggest question that any person considering coming and living overseas, is whether they could adjust to living in that country they've chosen. And for many, I believe that that's the main reason why they don't stay. They think they're going to be able to handle all those usual things that are brought up, barking dogs, karaoke, power outages, water things not available, sir, and not being able to buy their favourite brand of food. But again, all of those things are nothing really in your mind, really, because if you come and live in Spain, or you live in France, or you live in America, you're not always going to find everything the way it is back home. And the message I've often tried to get through to so many Americans here is that they come with the idea that they're going to recreate a new America here in the Philippines. It just won't happen. It can't happen. And I tend to disagree with Ian over that. And that is that you can have all the money, but it's still not always possible to have America here. And for many Americans, that's a no-no. If you can't do it, then they won't make this their home. But for the majority of expats, including Americans, I believe that if you have the right mindset to approach life in its entirety here in the Philippines, you will learn to adapt. You will learn to become just another person living in the Philippines. That's really all you can hope for. If you want to create yourself in a little ghetto of fellow human beings from your own country, then I don't think you're going to really end up experiencing the real Philippines. You're just going to be on the edge, looking in, instead of being inside, looking out. And one of the joys of living here in the Philippines is to be able to say, this is your home. This is where I want to end my days. This is the place that I've chosen to be my permanent address. I think we all need to look in ourselves and ask the question, could we really make another country our new home for life? Because if we can't, really is it worth the trip and the effort just to find nice beaches, beautiful ladies to spend your evenings with, and to moan about the food that you say you can't stomach, when in actual fact, everything you want is here in the Philippines. There isn't anything I can think of. The other day I was on YouTube. It's funny that, YouTube. Yes, I wanted to see how you made marmalade. I remember my mother making it. And I watched a couple of videos done by American ladies showing you the most simplest way to make orange and lemon marmalade. So simple. I'm going to do it because I love my marmalade on my toast in the morning. And how better to do it than to make it out of Filipino oranges and lemons, and to cook it with Filipinos sugar and gas and a little bit of helpful knowledge from a couple of American YouTubers who show me how their grandmother made their marmalade, breakfast marmalade. Brilliant idea. Can't wait to do it, and I'll probably show it to you on a short. But again, the Philippines is a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful place because every day is different. Today is different from yesterday. Not only is it really the first day back to normality again, everybody travelling back to get ready for work tomorrow. But it is a wonderful place because every day is another learning experience for us all. A day to wonder what the world will bring us. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And we'll speak again soon.